news in the Middle East, with the region on a knife edge because reports from the US say Israel has notified the US it intends to launch a limited ground incursion into Lebanon. CBS, the BBC's partners in America, say they were told by an official that the incursion could start as soon as today. The minister had said that the next phase of the war against Hezbollah will begin soon. That was the quote he used in the last few minutes. Earlier in the day, he visited the Lebanese border, where he said Israel was ready to use forces from air, sea and land to achieve its objectives and ensure people who'd been evacuated from their homes in northern Israel were safe to return. Well, Hezbollah's deputy leader has insisted that the group is ready if Israel decides to invade Lebanon.
Let's be clear, we are operating against Hezbollah and not Lebanese civilians.
And in a separate development, Lebanon's prime minister said he's ready to deploy the country's army to defend the border area if needed. So,
this is why we have issued countless warnings for these civilians to relocate. Hezbollah has been terrorizing our civilians, leaving us with no choice but to act. We have sent thousands of messages, made numerous phone calls and radio broadcasts, and have left leaflets urging the Lebanese civilian population to move north and away from the areas that the terrorist army operates from. Hezbollah is using Lebanese civilians as human shields and encourages them to stay in their homes, which are oftentimes utilized as munition storage facilities. Since October 8th, Hezbollah has fired over 9,000 rockets at Israeli civilians, displacing over 60,000 and forcing them out of their homes. Our operations are intelligence-based, and we will continue to strike Hezbollah infrastructure to ensure the safety of all our civilians.
Devastation. This is the north of Israel, where more than 100 square kilometers of forest and vegetation have been completely burned, and families and communities have been ripped apart by death and destruction. On October 7th, Hamas launched a brutal massacre of Israelis. On October 8th, Hezbollah began attacking northern Israel. The attacks haven't stopped since. In a New York Times visual investigation report, it was claimed multiple times that many people have died due to the IDF's precision strikes in Lebanon. However, the visual proof accompanying this statement shows multiple caskets, all wrapped in Hezbollah flags, indicating a different story. The IDF has exclusively carried out intelligence-based strikes on Hezbollah's weapons arsenal, as well as the multiple Hezbollah commanders responsible for the deaths of thousands of people all around the world. Let's get the facts straight. Hezbollah attacked Israel on October 8th. Hezbollah has continued to attack Israel ever since, firing over 9,800 missiles and rockets at Israel ever since. The IDF and the State of Israel have a responsibility to protect and defend Israeli civilians. All of the diplomatic options have been established, and still tens of thousands of civilians have been displaced from their homes since October 8th. This is unacceptable. Our number one priority has and always will be to protect the civilians of Israel. The IDF will continue operating to ensure this.
Pirates of the Middle Eastern seas? The Houthis. An Iran-backed terrorist group that took control over northern Yemen in 2014 continued to reshape the Middle East security landscape. Since October 2023, the Houthis have attacked over 40 international cargo ships, interrupting international trade, and have launched multiple ballistic missiles toward Israel from over 1,000 miles away. They are heavily armed with an arsenal of ballistic missiles, UAVs, anti-aircraft missiles, and anti-ship missiles. One of the dozens of UAVs that they launched toward Israel directly hit a home in central Tel Aviv, killing a man and injuring several others. Over the past week, they have launched 3 projectiles towards central Israel, causing millions of Israelis to run to shelters. The Houthis don't intend to stop attacking the state of Israel, and we don't intend to stop defending ourselves.
The terrorist organization has fired over 9,000 rockets, missiles, UAVs at Israeli families, homes, and communities. In the last week alone, Hezbollah fired over 700 rockets, missiles, UAVs, hitting homes deep inside Israel and forcing hundreds of thousands of Israelis into bomb shelters. For years, Hezbollah has been planning to do in northern Israel what Hamas did in southern Israel on October 7th. Invade Israel, infiltrate civilian communities, and massacre innocent civilians. To achieve this goal, Hezbollah drew up a plan. They called it Conquer the Galilee. On Friday, the IDF conducted a precise strike based on intelligence on Ibrahim Akil, the architect of this plan, and other senior Radwan force commanders in Beirut. At the time of the strike, these Hezbollah commanders were meeting to plan an October 7 style attack in northern Israel. To make sure that Hezbollah can't carry out such an attack, and in order to enable all 60,000 Israelis to safely return back to their homes in northern Israel, we must act against this threat. This threat is just a few hundred of meters away from the communities and families in northern Israel.
I speak a lot about the leaders of Iran, yet at this pivotal moment, I want to address you, the people of Iran. I want to do so directly, without filters, without middlemen. Every day, you see a regime that subjugates you make fiery speeches about defending Lebanon, defending Gaza. Yet every day, that regime plunges our region deeper into darkness and deeper into war. Every day, their puppets are eliminated. Ask Muhammad Def. Ask Nasrallah. There is nowhere in the Middle East Israel cannot reach. There's nowhere we will not go to protect our people and protect our country. With every passing moment, the regime is bringing you, the noble Persian people, closer to the abyss. The vast majority of Iranians know their regime doesn't care a whit about them. If it did care, if it cared about you, it would stop wasting billions of dollars on futile wars across the Middle East. It would start improving your lives. Imagine if all the vast money the regime wasted on nuclear weapons and foreign wars were invested in your children's education, in improving your health care, in building your nation's infrastructure, water, sewage, all the other things that you need. Imagine that. But you know one simple thing. Iran's tyrants don't care about your future, but you do. When Iran is finally free, and that moment will come a lot sooner than people think, everything will be different. Our two ancient peoples, the Jewish people and the Persian people, will finally be at peace. Our two countries, Israel and Iran, will be at peace. When that day comes, the terror network that the regime built in 5 continents will be bankrupt, dismantled. Iran will thrive as never before. Global investment, massive tourism, brilliant technological innovation based on the tremendous talents that exist inside Iran. Doesn't that sound better than endless poverty, repression, and war? From Qom to Isfahan, from Shiraz to Tabriz, there are tens of millions of good and decent people with thousands of years of history behind them and a brilliant future ahead of them. Don't let a small group of fanatic theocrats crush your hopes and your dreams. You deserve better. Your children deserve better. The entire world deserves better. I know you don't support the rapists and murderers of Hamas and Hezbollah, but your leaders do. You deserve more. The people of Iran should know Israel stands with you. May we together know a future of prosperity and peace.